We are back with you now on Wave Listens Live. It's another Medicare Monday, and today we are going to talk all about Medicare coverage options. So here to help us wade through these waters, Dan Lodwick is the co-founder and COO of the Bedrock Group. Back with us on Listen. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Okay, so today let's explain, because I think a lot of people need to hear this information, explain when and why it's important to review your coverage yearly.
Well, yeah, yearly you have the annual election period that starts October 15th, ends December 7th, and that's the time of place in the year where everyone that's in Medicare has their decisions to make for the following year. And the reason why that's so important is the plans change from year to year. All these plans are notated on the Advantage side. They're notated for January 1st, and they end on December 31st every year. And most of the plans, the shells kind of stay the same, but some of the internal benefits can change. The drug formularies can change, which is basically the dictionary for all of the drugs that the carriers are going to, I guess, allow for the following year. So it's nice to get that review done. The reviews are always at zero cost to the clients, but it's always good to know because you don't want to be surprised when you go pick up your prescriptions in January.
Right.
And it happens all the time. And people will call and say, I went to go pick up my prescription and they're telling me it's $125. I'm used to paying, 17.
If you're on a fixed income, that's a backbreaker.
Yeah. And so that's why it's so important.
Okay.
And there's a lot of resources out there to get that done.
You're a resource yourself. You've talked about before on Medicare Mondays about why the Bedrock Group came to be. You guys want to make sure that you're able to educate people and help out. Part of the way that you do that is that you take questions from our viewers, and we've got a couple of them that we want to review with you today. So this is coming in from Mike Randall of Clarksville, asking you, why does my drug cost go up in the middle of the year?
Okay, so Mike, that's a good question. Here's the reason why is you have 4 stages in the drug and Medicare Part D. You have your deductible stage that you have to pay to kind of belong to the club. Then you get into your initial phase, and that's where you're paying your typical co-pays, some percentages, things like that you get used to paying. Once the customer and the carrier or company pays, for this year it was $4,060. Once they combine that payment, then you get put in what's called the coverage gap, or that's a lot of times it's referred to as the donut hole. And while you're in the donut hole, you lose that ability to have the little co-pays and some co-insurance. Instead, you pay 25% of the full drug cost. And when we do reviews with our clients, we go through and we tell you exactly which month that's going to happen, and then we tell you if it's going to come out of that by the end of the year, because like for instance in 2024, once you reached $8,000 in total cost, and that's between the client and the carrier, then you jump into what's called the catastrophic phase, and for 2024 that drug cost went down to 0. But what happens is a lot of people get forced into that gap, they never get out of it, and a lot of times that is due to, like I said before, getting that annual election period review, because a lot of times drugs can change from tier to tier with different companies, and that tier is price. Right?
Okay.
That's out-of-pocket expense.
Yeah. All right. So good stuff to keep our eyes on. Got another question for you. This is coming from Patricia Smith out of Louisville. Patricia wants to know, what is the difference between a supplemental and a Medicare Advantage plan?
Okay, so that's a good question too. Medicare Advantage actually works as your Medicare. So basically Medicare has a system. It's got Part A, B, C, and D. And what happens with the C is actually the Medicare Advantage, right? A is your hospitalizations. It's where you're going. B is who's doing the procedures, and then D, of course, is drugs. Well, Medicare Advantage kind of combines all that together, and it has to be as good or better than original Medicare to be considered a plan. And then it has a max out of pocket. So you're going to have co-pays most of the time when you were working and you had group coverage through your employer. You're used to having co-pays for things. That's basically the same as what a Medicare Advantage plan is. It is a substitute for original Medicare. Now, you're still in the Medicare system. You're not going to be you're never going to lose that, right? You still have to pay your Part B premiums. I know that's terrible out there, but you still have to pay that in order to have Medicare, right? So the supplement is just what it sounds like. You have Medicare that will pay first, and then your supplement will kick in and will pay secondly. And supplements are a great option too. For anyone out there, except you have to understand that there's certain things that are going to happen when you're in a supplement. You're not going to have the benefits of having like hearing, dental, and vision, and the prices are going to go up every year. But on the other side, on the health end, that's their job, is to take care of the health of the client. You typically are left with minimal, if any, out-of-pocket expense on that side, except for your premium that you're paying. So, everything they're both very good. You have to decide for yourself, what can you afford? What are you comfortable with spending? We have a lot of people that are very healthy and they get into Medicare and they don't see the reason to go spend extra premium.
Right.
They're already paying $174 for their Part B, and then to tack on another $150 for someone that doesn't go to the doctor very often at all. It's just kind of the way it works in the system. And then you got to pay for a prescription drug plan as well.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a lot of information, but having somebody on your side to guide you through it is paramount to make sure that you are signed up for the right plans and doing all the right things for your health. So last thing I'll ask you, 30 seconds left, best way to get in touch with you, Bedrock Group, and then how to know when you're back for these Medicare Mondays, because we learn a lot when you're here.
Yeah, well, so we keep like a report on our Bedrock Group, and you can reach us at www.bedrockfg.com or our phone number, which is 502-200-1516. Super easy to find us. Get on and follow us on Facebook. We have a YouTube page too, so there's several ways of reaching us.
Easy to find you.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, thanks for being here, and thanks for answering the questions of our viewers.
Thank you.
All right, so we got more to come after this short break. Stay with us here on Listens Live.
Be prepared every day with your accurate weather forecast.